Plus, does anybody really need it to be that correct to the millimetre?
I don't think they do. And also, do we want
I mean,
a 90-minute...
just get rid of the linesman.
Yeah, just have loads of cameras everywhere and no crowd interaction at all. Just put fake noise in.
And just let us know what the score was at the end. And we'll cheer if one team won.
Yeah, fantastic. There we go. Esports. That's all it's about.
That's us out of a podcast, isn't it?
Oh, let's pack my bags. Oh.
It's been fun, guys. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Side Foot Pass podcast. I'm Adrian along with my co-host Mike.
Hello.
We host a weekly football show sharing our insights and opinions with special guests throughout the season. In this week's episode, we go over some key matches from last week and see how our predictions fared. And we discuss our predictions for all the matches upcoming in week 3 of the Premier League season. So, Mike, new week, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Not so many VAR decisions this week, I don't think, but it's still...
Oh, no, there's nothing to cover on VAR this week. Nothing at all.
I don't think we should even bother even thinking about it this week. Nothing happened. No controversy.
No, not really. No, nothing.
Well...
It's going to be a recurring theme, this, isn't it?
That's going to be fantastic. I saw something in the news today. They said, a referee said it might take about 7 or 8 years for people to get used to VAR. And would the game be dead by then? Would all the special, footballers across the be like, no, it's all right, I'm going to Serie A instead.
By special footballers?
The better ones, yeah.
The better ones, okay.
Yeah. Oh, who knows? We'll go a bit over that, shall we? But yeah. So one of the key games from last week, I thought, was Chelsea v Leicester. That ended up 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. There was about 50-50 possession, pretty equal stats overall. The scorer for Chelsea was their new guy, Mount, who's only 20 years of age. Lampard obviously has a lot of faith in him. It's only his second appearance and his first goal. From looking at the first half, I thought Chelsea were just going to run away with it, about 4-0. Leicester had no say in it whatsoever. And then second half just totally changed. I
mean, it's the old cliche, isn't it? Game of two halves, really. Maybe a draw was a fair result at the end of the day, I think.
Yeah. Chelsea, they owned the first half, then Leicester were very decisive in the second half. But from the pundits' point of view, Chelsea was straight at it for 45 minutes, and maybe because they had a midweek fixture, their fitness was lower because the Super Cup, they had to endure extra time. Maybe next week, if they do the same intensity, they'll be a lot better. Who knows?
It's a tough one. The thing that got me was after the game more than during the game was the Chelsea fans took to Twitter in quite high numbers as well, and there's already new Twitter accounts out there. They want Lampard out after 2 games, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, especially when they're all calling him Super, Frankie Lampard, only 2 weeks before the season started.
Yeah, you've got to give them time to bed in. And, he can only do what he's got with the squad. They've got 2 strikers, really, that are in their first team. Giroud, who's a target man, who literally is a support player. He gets the ball, waits for people to do run-offs and hits a through ball. He might get the odd header. And Abraham is new to first team Premier League football. Obviously, he was with Villa last year. Banged in 20 goals in the Championship.
They've also lost Louise at the back. They're on the embargo, so they can't sign anybody. So, he's really stuck with what he can and can't do. It's not like it's not like they're getting battered. Last week they did get battered, didn't they?
Yeah, only in the second half. It was, still 1-1.
It was a fair even game overall, yeah. The score didn't really tell the full story, did it?
No, if they would have carried on with the same intensity and impact they had in the first half, it would have been a different story. But it all changes when Leicester's obviously team talk either really was amazing or the fitness by the looks of it went down. But yeah, that's that's one of the games from last week I thought was quite interesting. And we were watching the highlights of this next particular game together, and we were, I don't know, really quite happy about it. It was the Norwich and Newcastle game. Ended up 3-1 Norwich.
Yeah, I keep saying we should do like a hero or villain episode and predictions for the season. I mean, we've already given Steve Bruce a bit of stick, but if I was to pick for somebody who I think is going to be the first manager to get sacked in the Premiership, I would have gone for Steve Bruce. Don't know much about the guy who got the hat trick, but apparently he was banging them in the Championship last season, and he took his chances very well for Norwich.
Yeah, I think he's got 5 goals overall already. Hat trick in this game. It wasn't the perfect hat trick, although the volley was pretty phenomenal with his right foot, and then he scored another right foot and a left foot, so it's not too far off. But I think everyone last week wished he was in their fantasy football team and they'd stuck a captain on him, I'll tell you that.
I certainly wish he was in mine. I bet it doesn't cost too much either.
No, I think I checked this week. It's 6.7 or something like that. Not too much at all. I didn't put it in, but yes, I checked him out. But I think for entertainment of coming straight in and putting their best first 2 matches forward, Norwich, I think it's definitely a team to watch, as in how well they do. I think Brighton are also a similar thing, and Sheffield United. I'm really quite interested. I actually want to watch their games, where I thought, I'm like, no, it's going to be boring football, but they've all been quite entertaining games. So
yeah, I certainly thought that about Sheffield United. But yeah, I mean, it's only 2 games in, but they're definitely up for the fight from the off. How long it lasts, I don't know, but it's a very good start from both.
There's 2 other matches that I wanted to highlight on, and they both had a couple of VAR situations. Oh, surprisingly.
I thought there wasn't any.
No, apparently. I've got written down here there was, so somehow we've got to discuss it. I'm sorry.
Oh, we're going to have to wipe the whole beginning of this podcast off then.
Yeah, I might have to juggle it up. Yeah. So
no, go on.
I'm going to start with. I'll start with the Villa one. We watched a bit of the highlights to that one. Bournemouth did beat Villa, sadly, 2-1. But the working that Villa had on that game, it should have been a different story, really. They had 22 shots, 7 on target for the whole match, which is pretty incredible. But they only managed to convert 1 of them, 63% of the ball. But Bournemouth, I don't know, from the VAR point of view, there was a particular thing where Trezeguet kicked King in the penalty box. We watched the instant replays, and it was obvious just from a replay that, yeah, he's kicked him, but no penalty. And yet, the other match we're going to go over in a minute with Man City, that penalty with the handball, yeah, the VAR incident there, I thought, well, it's definitely a penalty. It should have been 3-1 because most penalties go in, except for what happened last night with Wolves and Man United. But the other game that had the VAR thing, and then the new crazy handball rule came in, was the Man City versus Tottenham game, which ended 2-2. So Man City had 30 shots, 10 on target. Tottenham only had 3 shots, 2 on target. And guess what? 2 on target. You only need to get both of them in, don't you? So,
I mean, it was a ridiculous decision in my eyes. I know they say, it's to the letter of the law, but they're also saying if it's a handball the other way, it's not a penalty.
In our eyes, it should have been 3-2 Man City. So the last bits of the game, Man City scored, but from the replay, they passed it to the backside of the goal. It hit one of the attacker's arms, well, basically grazed it, and therefore they disallowed the goal.
See, I don't even know how you can 100% say, because it was that much of a grazing, did it actually hit the arm?
Yeah, to me, I mean, I'm not a VAR specialist.
That could have very easily have passed the arm without touching it.
I mean, we're not VAR specialists. We're not trained in split-second thing, but I couldn't see it. I could see that, his arm was near it, but I couldn't say he touched it.
It certainly didn't change the trajectory or the pace of the ball. I don't think.
This new handball rule goes under Law 12 of the FA, which is, I'll read a bit of it. It's an offence if a player deliberately touches the ball that either then they gain possession using their hand, or from after they've used their hand, they score an opponent's goal, create a goal scoring opportunity. If it's a goal scoring opportunity, they've got to say it's handball. But like you were saying, if it touched the defender's arm, it's fine. Just carry on.
Yeah. So to not have a grey area, the rule's got to stand both ways round. If it grazes an arm in the box and it's a defender, then it's a penalty. You can't take the goal away if it grazes the arm of the attacker and then somebody scores.
It says delivery touches with the arm, including moving the arm towards the ball, but it's an offence of one of those. So it's whether it's a deliberate touch of the arm, that's an offence, or if it touches their arm and then they gain possession, then get the opponent's, scoring the opponent's goal, then it is.
Right, okay.
So if it hits the defender's arm and it's not deliberate, it's not a penalty. But if they're wailing their arms in the air like they're on Team America, then it is.
It's just madness, isn't it? And I've got to say, both managers on the sidelines handled the situation very well.
Pep Guardiola, I don't know how he maintained. I know he got a bit annoyed, took off his coat, but his composure was there. I mean, that's amazing. I think a lot of managers would just go absolutely ape and go, I don't believe this. This is 2 games in a row.
Yeah, it could have gone off his nut, but he had quite a mature conversation, I would say, with Pochettino about it.
This is after week 2, and it's all over the press, all over Twitter. Everyone's talking about it. But I think we need a few more weeks and then maybe do something special of all the incidents that have already happened and how inconsistent maybe they are. So,
well, they keep saying if it's right, how's it controversy? Well,
yes, yeah,
controversial. But I mean, yeah, well, I'd say it's controversial. It didn't take long for that comment to be turned around on its head, I think.
Yeah. Right, shall we move on to this week 3?
We'll move on, because we've got another VAR situation to cover, and it takes quite a bit of time, doesn't it?
All right, so this week 3 of the Premier League season sees Friday the 23rd of August, we have Villa versus Everton. So me versus you, Mike, at Villa Park. So we last met 2016, and out of the last 6 over the last, I think, 5 or 6 years, Everton have actually won 5 out of those 6. It's amazing, isn't it?
Not from my point of view, no.
Yeah, going off the last games they both had. So, like I said earlier, Villa had 22 shots, 7 on target, 63% possession, where Everton, I didn't get the percentage of play, but I think it was about 50-50. And you had 12 shots, 2 on target. Bernard, for you, had a pretty solid game. He had a nice goal. Did you see the whole match? I know Matt, who was our guest last week, went there.
He did go. It's a shame he couldn't make it this evening as well, as there was a VAR incident early on in the game in that, and it would have been nice to have got his insight about that being at a game rather than us watching games from at home and having an actual fan being involved in that VAR situation as well, live, not just we're neutral to most of the games. As for our past games, I don't think they come into it, do they, really?
I think it's more of how you're doing so far to this date. Again, it's only been games, so again.
It still feels like the David Moyes era for me at the minute. I did bring that up last week. Matt went quiet, which would suggest he doesn't agree with me, but I don't know. We tend to do all right on the ball, have quite a lot of the ball. We're getting to the final third and don't know how to finish it. But I mean, that's why we brought in the likes of Iwobi and Keane. But at the minute, they're just getting a bit of sub time, just feeling the way in. I mean, I'm going to be cheeky. I'm going to hope they start on Friday. And I think they may start on Friday because you're a weaker opponent, or the manager might see you as a weaker opponent.
So you're hoping Keane starts, yeah?
So, I think there's a good chance he might start.
He had from when he came on as a sub, he had about 4 or 5 attempts, didn't he? Quite quick succession.
Yeah, the opposition were all over him as well. They've definitely done their homework. All right, you can't tell what he's going to be like as a Premiership player. He's quite a strong lad, even though he's only a young lad. He's quite strong. And they'll have seen videos of him playing at Juve last season. And they were just pulling him to the floor left, right and centre whenever he got the ball. And he was shaking off 2 or 3 challenges at a time before they actually stopped him.
The more pulling and pushing they do, they will eventually get a yellow and they won't be able to cope, maybe. That could be a thing. I mean, Villa they do push, but they don't kind of jump in. So I'm not sure how that one will fare. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm interested.
I think it could be a close game, especially if we don't start with Keane. You've been more impressive than I thought you would be so far, but you also haven't really got a goal scorer.
Well, we're supposed to have, but 15 mil or 20 mil, I think it was. I can't remember. He can't score. Yeah, they're gelling. Like Matt said last week, he was quite impressed and surprised they weren't gelling. I think they have gelled, but it's all well and good doing loads of shots, but you got to score. Although Man City last week had 30 shots, only scored 2. Technically 3, but again, we're not going into that.
Sounds like me on FIFA,
that. Yeah. I've got this one because it's Villa at home. I'm going 2-1 Villa.
Oh, you're going for a home win, are you?
But yeah, why not?
Matt'd be happy with you. He likes home wins.
He does like. I did look down my predictions this week and thought Matt's going to be like, "What's going on? They're all home wins."
Well, you've just given away the rest of your results for the
They're
rest
not
of the
all home
podcast.
wins. The majority are.
I'm going to go 1-1 draw. Because it's away from home, realistically, Keane probably won't start. Even though I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to go 1-1.
If anyone wants to watch that, it's at 8 p.m. on Sky Sports on Friday. So hopefully we'll be watching it. So hope you will too. Moving on to Saturday, we have the earlier kickoff for the TV. It's on BT Sport. This one is Norwich v Chelsea at 12:30. So they last met last year, 2018. And for that one, I think it was a cup match. And there was 2 red cards because Chelsea had a double yellow with Pedro Morata. So will that happen again?
It's an incredible memory you've got there. It's almost like you've got the stats written down.
It's almost like I've done my research, yeah.
It is. I'm impressed. I mean, this is going to be the real test, isn't it, really, for Norwich?
After a couple of solid games, yes, I think so. Pookie, can he score again? Who knows? Anyone that's put them in the fantasy football team this week, no, they'll hope so.
Well, Chelsea might not be firing on all cylinders, but they're not mugs either, are they?
Nah, definitely not. You can't just think because they've had a rough first 2 games that you're going to have it easy because it's Chelsea.
It's a tough one to call for me.
Yeah, I thought the same. If I hadn't seen the first 2 matches, I would have gone, well, Chelsea are going to beat them probably like 3-0 or 3-1 or something like that. But I've gone 1-1 draw on this one at home.
I was thinking a draw myself. Early kickoff. They're normally not that great a game.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think it's going to be about 1-1 for myself, but I also think Lampard would have drilled home that we really need a result, so they're going to try so hard on this match, I believe. So they'll either pull that off and score a lot, or they'll make mistakes and get caught in the counter-attack that one time, and then Norwich will back up.
Now, we joke about the home results, but I'm going to go Norwich 1-0 here.
Norwich 1-0?
Norwich 1-0, yeah.
So you don't even think Chelsea is going to score then?
I can't see it. You'd expect Willian Giroud set piece maybe. No, I'm going to stick with my 1-0 Norwich. Because at least Norwich are having a go at teams, and they have scored a few goals. So,
okay, well, we're not too far off from that one. Just one goal in it, Carrow Road. So the 3 o'clock kickoffs, we move on to Brighton versus Southampton at the Amex Stadium. Last week, it was Brighton v West Ham last week. They only scored 1, but they had 16 shots. So they had lots of opportunities, but maybe not very clinical in that. So, and Southampton last week had 14 shots, 3 on target, and they only had 36% of the ball. So managing to get 14 shots off with nearly just a third of the possession is pretty good going, to be honest.
See, the Brighton game doesn't stick in my mind at all. I mean, maybe that says more about the Brighton game than it should.
I mean, it wasn't a brilliant game, but West Ham started to look a bit better as a team. But again, Brighton, it was a 1-1 with West Ham. I think last week you said Brighton would win, and I said West Ham would win. So technically that's a draw, isn't it? So
yeah, I suppose, technically, between us.
Yeah, because Southampton were against Liverpool last week, and they only lost 2-1, which I thought was, not bad, although it was at home. So I think this one, Brighton have had a decent start, in my opinion. I would say that with the bit of home advantage, I think I'd squeeze out a 2-1 for them over Southampton. I think looking at last week's matches and how many opportunities they both made, I think they'll both score, and then Brighton might get a late winner. So I'm going to go for 2-1 on that one.
I'm going to go 1-0 Brighton, because they're at the right end of the table at the minute. They're doing a lot better than I thought I would. I'm going to give them a chance. Southampton, so far, have been quite poor. I mean, really, you can only realistically sort of judging teams after maybe 5 or 6 games, which makes early podcasts quite difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would... Early predictions difficult is the words I should be using.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 Brighton. I'm going to give them a chance.
Nice one. I mean, we've both got that one as a win, so yeah, I always love an underdog. I've got to if I can. If I think they've got a chance, I'll go with them. We'll move on to Man U against Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. So we'll go over slightly last week's game. So Man U v Wolves, because there was a VAR incident. Which, Mike, would you like to go over another issue with VAR this week?
Well, basically, it pretty much simulated the armpit incident from the week before. One's been given, one hasn't been given. We're 3 weeks into the season, inconsistencies already with VAR. That pretty much sums it up without a 4-hour discussion, I think. It's just wrong.
We don't have to do a separate one then. Should we just do a 30-second one and just upload it?
If you want, yeah. We'll just go, was it right? Was it wrong?
Tick, done, upload. Fantastic. Yeah, that's where we've got to go with any future discussions of when they didn't call it and we thought they should, why did they call it that way? And then the other ones where they've called it and it's a millimetre or something offside. It's just demoralising as going from football to American football style reffing.
Plus, does anybody really need it to be that correct to the millimetre?
I don't think they do. And also, do we want
a
90-minute...
just get rid of the linesman.
Yeah, just have loads of cameras everywhere and no crowd interaction at all. Just put fake noise in.
Just let us know what the score was at the end, and we'll cheer if one team won.
Yeah, fantastic. There we go. Esports. That's all it's about.
That's us out of a podcast, isn't it?
Oh, let's pack my bags. Oh.
It's been fun, guys. Thanks for listening.
But the other match last week, the Crystal Palace were in, they controlled the game in possession-wise, but they didn't create enough chances. They only had 6 shots in the whole game. That's not even 1 shot every 10 minutes, which is pretty awful, to be honest. For Crystal Palace, we've gone over it several times, but they've got a decent side and should be doing a lot better. And last week, they lost 1-0 to Sheffield United, where Sheffield United are newcomers to the Prem, absolutely blazing with enthusiasm, trying to push it their all, and it's working for them. I mean, I'm really happy for them.
We've said, though, part of the issue is they only seem to win games when Zaha is on form. And he's a player at the minute that doesn't want to even be at the club. Now, whether there's things going on in the background and the stuff going on in the changing rooms or whatnot, bringing morale down as well, I've no idea.
Yeah, the fans weren't happy. Every time he had the ball, they just booed him, which, as a player, if you don't want to be there and you're playing, although you might have got over it or you slightly put it to the back of your mind, every time you get the ball, you get booed at. You know, it's going to demoralise you, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going to be like, well, okay, I didn't get my transfer. I did want to leave. I get paid by this club. It's my job. I'll go out. I'll try and do a job. And then you've got 20,000 people booing you. You're going to be like, why should I bother?
Yeah, you don't want that.
I mean, if you was a factory worker shoving something down the line and the rest of the factory were booing you, you'd just go, stick the finger up and walk out, wouldn't you?
You would, yeah.
You wouldn't stick around. So
the only benefit is it's at Old Trafford, so they'll have away fans, so less booing that you'll be able to hear, so that might work. Man United and Wolves. Man United, they only had 2 shots on target.
It's not the Man United when he took over, is it?
It ended up 1-1, didn't it, with Wolves and Man U. So out of their 2 shots, 1 went in. So, I mean, yeah, good conversion rate for shots on target, but you'd expect more of a peppering on goal like Man City do. Like they did 30 shots, 10 on target last week. Yeah, only 2 of them went in, but even if you're hitting it and it's going on target, you wait for the goalkeeper to make a mistake if you've got that opportunity.
It's Man United. At the end of the day, the fans, I mean, if there's anybody out there that is a United fan and feels I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but it's United, and the fans expect them to play forward-thinking, attacking football. And if you're getting 2 shots on target in a game, that's not really forward-thinking, attacking football, is it?
No. I mean, we could probably get 2 shots on target. We might lose 18,000 nil. Yeah. But 2 on target, that'd be nice. Yeah, I think it's difficult to call because neither of them had a great 2 first couple of weeks, but I still think Man U, and I'm going with a 1-0 to Man U. Nothing special, just maybe a set piece until they've found their feet. If they're going to only score, I mean, if they're only going to shoot 2 on target against Wolves, Wolves are a really good side now. I'm not taking it away from Wolves. I'm not taking it away from Wolves at all, but if they're going to manage 2 on target, are they going to score against Crystal Palace, who did quite well with possession last week against Sheffield United? So, what's your thoughts on the score?
Well, I remember saying last week that I fancied it to be a close game with the United and Wolves because Wolves are quite good tactically and defensively. Whereas Palace, they're not. They're more of their named players, are the attacking players, the creative players that are, good on paper, but it doesn't seem to work or gel for them. So yeah, you'd have to go United win. I'm going to go 2-0 United. And no referees slipping on plastic bags this week.
I don't know. It might be a common theme. I think we should do who slipped over this week.
Hero, villain, and slippery Pillen. I don't know.
Especially when it starts sliding into the autumn winter months. I think we're going to have some super slips. It's going to be good.
Super slips. Slip of the week. I like it. We just need feature music now. That'll take us another 3 months.
Yeah, that might do, yeah. Well, I might just find a trumpet and just make my own tune. I don't know. Well, moving on.
Yeah, cool.
Sheffield United versus Leicester at Bramall Lane. So Sheffield United have had a pretty good time already. They did win last week. 42% of the ball. They had 15 shots, which is pretty, well, it's a lot better than Man U. So they played exciting attacking football from what I saw, and they've got the passion there, and it's at home again, so it's quite advantageous for them. I watched the Leicester game.
Definitely a team effort with Sheffield.
Yeah. I mean, I watched the Leicester game, and they played well as well. Maddison was the standout for me. He made quite a few runs, had lots of playmaking opportunities. I think for this, after his good week last week, he'll be the one to watch in this match. I think because they've both tried attacking football, there's going to be quite a few goals. So I'm going for a 3-2 to Sheffield United at home.
3-2 to Sheffield. Oh,
I know. Not taking anything away from Leicester, because I do like Leicester, but I think just the enthusiasm might prevail on this particular fixture.
Well, Maddison is a creative player at Leicester. You'll keep hearing this from me week in, week out. He was another one I would have liked to have signed for Everton. I may have even said it in week 1 or week 2 about Maddison when he left Norwich, but he went to Leicester. I mean, I like Sheffield United start, but 3-2, I'm not sure I can go with that. I've given Brighton a chance. I can't give two of them a chance. I'm going to go 2-0 Leicester. I think Brendan Rodgers and the team that they've got at Leicester will be too much for them, to be fair.
That's fair enough.
It'll be a spirited start, maybe a boring first half. Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 Leicester, even though it's the away team.
Oh, no away team win. Matt's going to be shocked when he hears this.
No home theme for me, I'm afraid.
So, another 3 o'clock kickoff at Vicarage Road. It's Watford v West Ham. So, both teams haven't had the best start so far. Again, it's only 2 weeks in.
I mean, understatement.
Both not had a good time.
I thought they were 19th and 20th. 16th and 20th they are in the league at the minute.
So we got Watford only had 8 shots, 2 on target last week, and West Ham had 8 shots and 3 on target. So very similar stats from who they played last week. Watford gave a lot of free kicks outside the area, so maybe they were quite anxious of when they were against you as Everton. They just couldn't handle it, so they just kept hacking you outside the box, maybe. Maybe they're struggling from that tactical point of view.
Oh, they were having a good stab at Richarlison. He didn't have a very good game. Yeah,
I still think West Ham looked a bit better than they did in week 1. They were caught offside quite a few times. I'm sure they'll work on that this week, but it's promising that they're showing more. They want to push forward. They want to get them goals rather than, right, we just want to get through the match.
They've got a good squad. They've made some amazing signings at the beginning of last season. The manager they've brought in is a creditable manager. I just don't understand what is going on at West Ham.
Yeah, I'd like to look at what we talk about now and say, do like a quarter league review of where we are after about 10 matches or so. Yeah, just to see what things have gone down. Maybe look at these last ones. But I think this particular match, I'm going for a boring 0-0. I don't think either of them going to score.
See, I think Watford will probably control the play. Oh, I'm going to go 1-0 Watford. I had 3 different thoughts in my head, hence the quiet for a moment there. But I'm going to go 1-0 Watford. I think they'll nick it. I think they'll control the game. I don't know what it is with West Ham. I don't know why they seem so poor.
So moving on to the last 3 o'clock kickoff on the Saturday is Wolves v Burnley at the Molineux. Last week, Wolves didn't have much of the possession against Man U. They had 35%, managed 6 shots, 2 on target, but out of those 2 on target, 1 went in, and for that fixture, that's all they needed to get that point. And I think they did well, to be honest, to get that point. And I think if you go in against any of the top six, any points, if you're not one of the top six, is always going to be something that you'll grab hold onto if you can. So they did play well. Quite poor in the air. Only won about 30% of the aerial headers. But Burnley, I mean, they're playing quite well. I mean, last week they had 18 shots, 5 on target, but only had 32% of the ball. So 18 shots with 32%, that's pretty phenomenal. Last week, their goalkeeper, Pope, just kept them in the game, if you remember that one.
Was that the game where I said he's going to be the busiest man on the field?
He definitely was the busiest man.
I remember saying that one week.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal did end up winning 2-1 last week against Burnley, but it could have been 3-4, 5-1 because Pope played pretty much a blinder.
I'll throw a result out there before you this time, and I'm going to go 0-0.
0-0.
0-0. Yeah, I think Burnley will probably have more to offer, but may fade away in the second half. Wolves are quite solid at the back. I'm going to go 0-0.
Okay. I think Wolves will definitely have more shots this week against Burnley rather than Man U. And from my point of view, Burnley having 18 shots against Arsenal, who are still a top 6 side, I'm going for a 3-1 win, Burnley.
Oh, well, there's a massive difference of opinions there.
Hey, one of us is either going to be wrong or both going to be right, so that's cool.
Well, I think they're going to cancel each other out on the day, I think.
Okay.
For me.
I'm hoping it's more of my kind of result because it's going to be more entertaining, but there we go.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be an entertaining game, but that's just my opinion.
Fair enough. The last fixture on the Saturday is at 5:30 at Anfield. It's Liverpool v Arsenal. You can view that on Sky Sports. So these stats from last week, Liverpool and Arsenal had quite similar stats with who they were against. So Arsenal was against Burnley. Liverpool were against Southampton. They both had around just over 60% of the ball. They both had 15 shots. Liverpool had 6 on target. Arsenal had 9 on target. But I think you said last week, and you may have said in week 1, Liverpool do look suspect at the back. And it was quite obvious against Southampton that was the case. And I think...
Yeah, definitely.
Although it is at home at Liverpool, I do think they'll concede, but I still think they'll win. I think it'll be going to go for a 2-1. Not sure. I think there's going to be lots of shots in the game, but feel that Anfield and Liverpool, I don't know the stat, but I think Liverpool have won 15 on the trot or something like that now.
At home?
Just in general, I think. I'll have to check that one out, but...
Apparently at home they're undefeated in the last 39.
Wow. I
fancy Liverpool to bag a few. Maybe Arsenal nick one. Liverpool are a bit suspect at the back. The tea time kickoffs games are normally quite good as well. I don't know why, but they do seem to be a good game. I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool.
3-1.
Good job Matt's not hearing it.
I know.
Might kill me.
It's pretty close to mine, 2-1, 3-1. Both on a similar page. It's good to know. We're actually similar.
Unlike the last game.
Yeah. I'll be amazed if Burnley win 3-1. That'd be great. But, yeah, Sunday we've got 2 fixtures. We've got Bournemouth versus Man City at the Vitality Stadium live on Sky Sports. Last week, Man City looked amazing, but I don't know. Maybe they'll be a bit more clinical with rather than slamming 30 shots, 10 on target. Should they be concentrating on halving 15 shots and making them, 90% of them on target to get all the goals in? But they play quick attacking football, don't they? So,
yep.
So Bournemouth last week, 12 shots, 4 on target. They only had 37% of the ball, but they did beat Villa. So you just got to take your chances, haven't you?
Yeah, but that's filler, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's filler. Blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
But they took the chances when they were there. That's what I was trying to get at.
No, Bournemouth are normally quite a decent, quick attacking side. But I mean, it's down to what I keep saying every week. City, innit?
City, innit? Is that just going to be the title of the podcast soon?
Yeah.
City, innit? Yeah.
We should have, if we was doing a Manchester City only podcast, it'd just be City.
I'm going for a 3-0 win, Man City.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
You can say the same thing.
I'd also go 3-0 City.
That's the first one ever. I think we've actually said the same thing. So
I can change it to 4 if you want.
No, definitely not. No.
Or I can play devil's advocate and go 3-0 the other way.
Oh, yeah. Come on, then.
No, you're all
I'd
right.
like a free win, please.
I'll stick City 3-0.
Okay, nice one. So the last fixture of week 3 is Tottenham v Newcastle at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sky Sports again.
Just for anybody that listens before and wants to watch it, kicks off at 4:30, not 5:30.
5:30.
You can cut that pause out.
5.
Just drag the same bars in. It'll be fine.
So Tottenham last week, 3 shots, 2 on target against Man City. They were clinical. They only needed those 2 on target to go in to make them draw. They kept the ball well, but they couldn't break down Man City.
And they defended pretty well against all them shots.
Definitely 30 shots, 10 on target, and only 2 went in. That's pretty impressive.
You've got to fancy him against Newcastle, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it just shows that 20 of those shots were either blocked, they missed, or they put them off enough that it just never hit anywhere near the goalkeeper. So pretty good. Yeah, but Newcastle, they just haven't found their feet yet. And yeah, I fancy Tottenham to win.
I think they have. They've just realised that they're both left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you might struggle to run and kick the ball properly, eh?
Yeah, with 2 left feet.
Yeah.
Doesn't help. Tried it doing salsa once. Didn't work out.
What were you thinking on this scoreline wise? A high one, low one?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go high. I'm going to go big.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to go 5-1 Tottenham.
5-1?
Yes. And I'm going to go Steve Bruce to be sacked on Monday.
Is that a double bet? Wow.
That's a double bet.
I was only going to go for a 1-0 Tottenham, so that is totally opposite to me. It's good though. It's good to be different. Quite impressive that.
They played a pretty decent game against City last week. They managed to pull off a draw. They didn't get that many chances, but they took them when they did. And let's be honest, against Newcastle at home, they're going to get chances.
Yeah, definitely.
And if they're as clinical, it could be a whitewash.
Oh, interesting one. I mean, if it is that, I think it'll be a really interesting game.
Yeah, I mean, it's another one of them, isn't it? Anything can happen on the day kind of thing, It's very difficult to predict, although we're enjoying giving it a go every week. But yeah, I'm going to go for a whitewash 5-1.
Nice one. That wraps up week 3 of Premier League season with our predictions and our thoughts on them, really.
Do you want to cover VAR?
Well...
Oh, wait. We did.
Oh, we did. Oh. We can have a separate VAR incident. I did notice a thing that went out BBC this week, which is quite interesting for last season, was about tactical fouls. And last season, everyone thought, oh, Man City are the kings of this. They had over 58% of their fouls, which are 328 fouls in the season, were committed in the opposite half, which was the 3rd highest in the Premier League. But the highest were actually Liverpool, with 63% of their 315 fouls were in their opponent's territory. So the tactical foul is very alive with the top 6. Do you think that's like the way forward? Like, if you push so many people forward, you've got to have that foul to put everyone back in their formation, haven't you?
You've got to, haven't you? If you're pushing that far forward and you're scared of them on the counter, like the likes of Bournemouth, who can hit you on the counter, the likes of Leicester, Vardy up front can hit you on the counter. You've got to have somebody there who's going to take one for the team every now and again and stop that counter attack.
Yeah, it's just quite interesting because you don't think of, you see them, but you don't in your head tally them up of, oh yeah, he's fouled them there. But it makes sense as a tactical point of view of, we're going to shove, both wing backs are going to go up front, and we're just going to leave, a couple of hanging centre backs because they're not that tall, and then we're not going for a header. We're just going for push as many people in as possible into the area, and you've just got to foul them on their way out if they get the ball. Then there you go.
Yeah, probably as a neutral, you maybe pick up on a couple again at most, where you go, oh yeah, that was stopping them on the counter. They needed to do that, but yeah, it's clearly going on a lot more than you first realise.
Yeah, I just thought it was quite interesting. I just saw it and went, oh yeah, didn't even think about that. So,
a lot higher number than you would expect, or I would expect anyway. So let's go into last week's predictions then and see how we fared there on the old points tally between the two of us. We'll start with Saturday's game, Arsenal v Burnley, which was a lunchtime kickoff. I believe I had a 1-0 and you had a 2-0. What was the actual result of the game?
It was 2-1 to Arsenal.
It certainly was. Which means we both predicted the game correctly as Arsenal to win, but unfortunately failed on the old scoreline. Although you was pretty close with your 2-0. If only Burnley hadn't have scored.
I know.
So with that, we both get a point for that game. You would have. You certainly would have. Moving on to the next game, which was Villa versus Bournemouth, which ended, sorry to say, 2-1 to Bournemouth.
Boo.
See, I had it in your favour. I kind of got the score right, just on the flip side. I went with the 2-1, and you went for the 2-2 draw, I believe.
Yeah, I did. I was obviously hoping for that additional shot halfway through to just get that goal. But yeah, I think we both ended up with nil point on both of those.
Nil point there, yeah. But again, you was only a goal late from getting the score right.
Yeah.
2 games in a row there, pretty close, unlucky.
Yeah.
Moving on to Brighton v West Ham, which ended 1-1. I went with a 1-0 win to Brighton, and you went with
a 2-1 win to West Ham.
See, that's another nil point.
Yeah, nil point.
And another 1 goal off for you. 3 games in a row, 1 goal out.
I know, shocking.
Very unlucky, very unlucky. Moving on, we had Everton-Watford next, which Everton ended up winning 1-0 with Bernard's goal in the first 15-20 minutes. I went for a 1-0 win, so 3 points for me.
3 points.
And I think you went with a 2-0.
I went for a 2-0. Yeah, and I got a singular point, so it's all right.
So you get a point for getting the right team to win there.
Yeah, not bad. I'll take that one.
Then we move on to the Norwich-Newcastle game. Now, if you bear in mind, I just went for Spurs to win 5-1, which I think could quite easily happen. If you take into account that they lost against Norwich 3-1, and I think I might be quite good with my prediction for last week. But anyway.
And you predicted 3-1.
3-1 Norwich.
I know. I went for a 3-2, so again, a goal off. But
only a goal off. I mean, you still get a point.
Still get a point, yeah. You got another 3 for that one.
What can I say? Might not be as close to my predictions, but I'm getting them right.
That moves us on to Southampton v Liverpool. It was 2-1 to Liverpool on the day. I think you had a 2-0 to Liverpool. And I had a 4-0 to Liverpool. So we both got it right that Liverpool would win, but we're a bit off on the score line. Although you were only 1 goal off.
Yeah, it was my turn to be 1 goal off this time.
So yeah, 1 point each on that one.
If you wish to continue.
Yeah, sure. So it was Man City v Tottenham for the next one. It ended in a 2-2. You predicted a 2-1 on this one. And I predicted a 4-2. So both thought Man City were going to win. And really, they should have. Shouldn't they? Yeah.
They should have. They really should have. 3-2. Come on, lads.
Exactly.
Sort it out.
But yeah, sadly for that, we got 0 points on that because we weren't correct, even though we were.
Nil poor.
The Sunday matches, Sheffield.
So hang on. That not only did City out of 3 points, that did you and me out of 3 points.
Yeah, I know. Shocking. Sheffield and Crystal Palace. Sheffield won 1-0. Where you got a 0-0 draw because I'm pretty sure you thought that was going to be a boring one. I mean, it wasn't the most attention.
I'm pretty sure that's the one where the referee was going to slip on the plastic bag.
I think that was it.
I think it must have been that one.
I went for a 1-0 and I got 3 points. There we go.
Well done, Adrian.
Got 3 points out of that one. And then we've got Chelsea v Leicester that ended up in a 1-1 draw. You predicted 2-0 Leicester, I think.
I did, yes, unfortunately.
And I predicted a 3-0 Chelsea. Went the other way. So my scoring was a bit off on that one.
Yeah, you started sneaking extra point in on
I
yourself
was, yeah.
there.
Didn't even realise.
Even after I was honest about my own.
And then the last game was Monday, Wolves v Man United. It ended up a 1-1 draw. You went for a 2-0 to Wolves.
I did, yes.
And I went for a 3-1 to Man United.
And tried to sneak in another point. Whoa. No,
oh, yeah. Get confused.
Wow. For those listening, we're scoring it on a document. And he's already added an extra point on himself by accident. And then instead of taking it off him, he took it off me. So to wrap that up, after that little sneaky point stealing, who won that week?
It was you that week with 8 points to my 7.
Could have quite easily been a different.
It could have. If I'd got those extra goals in the right places, I could have had several 3 points.
Yeah, like 4 games there? You was 1 goal out from predicting the actual score.
Yeah. Oh, well. Maybe next week.
The joys of football.
Although if your Tottenham 5-1 comes off, that'll be a pretty good one, I think.
So that just leaves us to move on to checking the fantasy football for this week then.
Yeah, okay. Take it away.
Fantasy football this week, there's not been very many changes in the league. There is one change. David Hunt with the Wolf Pack has climbed above yourself, who's now put you at the bottom with Dwarfing USA AFC, and he's also now above Matt Salter, who's in 5th with Nice Beaver FC, which leaves Jack still leading the pack since day one. We've got Brett over on Twitch with the Dog and Partridge in 2nd, and myself with my boring name of Cass11 in 3rd. Nothing major to cover there, really. And we'll keep an eye on that throughout the season.
Yeah, I just hope I don't come last. I don't want that. 2nd to last. Yeah, I can deal with that.
There's nothing wrong with coming last.
No, I guess not. No. So if you like what you heard, or you didn't like what you heard, then don't subscribe. But if you did, then please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, or on Blueberry. If you want to get in contact with the show, we're on Side Foot Pass Pod on Twitter, where we try and discuss things with other fans, try and interact, try and put our opinions across, and hopefully we can get some of your opinions, start including them in the show. So please get in touch on Twitter at SideFootPassPod, and we'll speak to you next week.
So that's goodbye from me.
And that's also goodbye from me. Goodbye.
Goodbye.